Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Chris.
and we're the leftovers.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
I did not agree to that.
Hey, Chris,
Hey, Mark.
I've got an idea to talk about today.
What's your idea for today?
Love.
Love.
So, some would say, what's love got to do with it? They would say that.
It's just a secondhand emotion.
That's the next question. Is it?
No.
No, it's not. It's very important. Do you think people have a desire to be loved?
Yes, people have the desire to be loved, but they don't want to hold off to find the right kind of love for them.
Ooh, deep topic.
Because there's different types of love.
There are.
And a lot of people just want to have the fun kind of love. They don't want to look for the...
But it is an option.
It is an option, but
Maybe not the healthiest option, but an option.
yes, I'm talking more of looking for a partner, forever partner, a marriage partner. You don't.
I thought you might have been talking about looking for love in all the right places or all the wrong places. How's that go?
Can we stop with all the song?
Oh, it's all about a song. It's the world is a song, Chris. Come on.
Our
Today
song
the-
is a slamming screen door.
Today is the love episode. Show the love.
Where is the love?
Yeah, exactly.
But
So,
back to what I was talking about. A lot of people want that playful love all the time, where they're always having fun with somebody. But then when something gets real hard, they cut bait and go.
yeah. So would you call that ludus love? Is that what they call that?
Are we going to definitions now?
Ludus, right? Playful love?
Ludus is the Greek word, or is that where does ludus come from?
Pretty sure it's Greek. Playful love. Not really attached, I think is how that works. Just a good time. You ever had that kind of love? Ludus,
Playful love.
Playful love.
You're just around for the fun. You're not
You think,
really.
like long-term love, do you think it starts that way?
Well, every relationship hopefully
Gotta start
starts
somehow.
with the fun time. But the longer you go about it, I mean, not all the time's going to be the fun time.
No. And some relationships more than others, you're going to find out real quick that kind of love is short-lived. But, when people are seeking this kind of love, playful love, if you will, when that's all they're looking for in a relationship, they're looking for someone that has the same idea, same plan, same, energy.
Majority of the time, though, one person wants that playful love to never end, and then someone else is wanting more of a pragmatic type of love. No, I'm not using your Greek words of pragma. More people look for the more pragmatic love, someone that they can be with from their younger to the time that they're sitting on a front porch, sipping sweet tea, watching their grandkids run around the front yard. You know that picked up, right?
So a long-lasting love, practical, long-lasting in your mind.
What's the Greek word?
You already said it. Pragma.
Pragma.
Pragma. It also had in that definition practical relationship. So, in my mind, I'm guessing a lot of relationships starts out like that. Like maybe young couples are in the same area, whether it be school or community, sports, and maybe in the band together. I was never in the band. So. sure. You're like a clarinet player.
You know, I played football for years.
Oh, not the clarinet.
I wasn't smart enough to be in the band.
The football.
Yeah, I was smart enough to be in football, where I got my head beat in every day.
So if a young couple were in a situation to where they were around one another a lot, and, you know, maybe one spoke the way the other one would like the one to speak, look the way they wanted them to look, something just attracted them to them. Do you think people are attracted to people subconsciously, or do you think it's all conscious?
Oh, it's a mix of them. I mean, most people go for the outward appearance first and then look towards the inside.
I've never heard of such.
Everybody tries to go for the packaging before the inside. You like to laugh at
Kind of
the
like
things I say.
a Christmas present, right? If it's wrapped well, then you're going to want to open it. But if it's wrapped in newspaper, it's going, I don't know about that. Is that what you
No,
said?
but that's no, because
Know what you're
anybody
saying.
doesn't matter what it's wrapped in for a Christmas present. I'm gonna open it.
But I'm using that for,
What I'm saying, it's like
you look at them first, and then you figure out.
we'll use this. We'll use
They have
this
a
as,
brain.
we'll use. I have a different example. It's like a Twinkie. The outside looks amazing. That cream filling is so good. But then you can also get the times where it has the regular outside of a Twinkie, and then someone's injected it with like
Go about it.
mint
Go ahead.
toothpaste or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible trick.
Or the exact opposite. The good cream can be in the middle of it, but then it's like a 13-year-old Twinkie that's all moldy green.
You know those little Twinkies that are like pinkish color with the coconut-like stuff on the outside?
That's not a Twinkie of any kind. That's called a Snowball.
No, Snowball's white. This is kind of Zinger. Zinger? Is that what it is? Zinger? I think that's what it is.
If you're talking about the marshmallow thing
No,
that has...
It's not marshmallow.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
You're talking to a fat kid. Where no, I don't really like coconut. You're talking to a fat kid about Little Debbie like snacks. Come on, man. See, that's not what you were explaining to me.
That's a Zinger.
What you were talking about
Raspberry
was more of a
Zinger.
Snowball.
No, I said it. I didn't say it was white on the outside.
No, but you said it was covered in coconut.
Mm-hmm. It is. I like those Snowballs too, by the way.
I just don't like coconut.
That's good. German chocolate's out of the question then.
No.
I love me some German chocolate. Speaking of love, which kind of love is that? When you love German chocolate cake.
I thought we were going to go the German chocolate kind.
German chocolate?
Find you a black girl from Germany. Some German chocolate. So you can make all the sexual innuendos, but as soon as I do, it's a face palm to the head.
Face palm to the head. Wow. Way off topic. What's love got to do with it? That's what she said.
Oh, heavens. I have to edit this episode.
Tina Turner.
Yeah, I know. I have to edit this episode and go through all of our BS we're going through here.
It's a conversation, Chris. These things happen in conversations. Just off the wall stuff. You know? Playful. No, we were away from playful. Go ahead, Chris. What do you got next? What kind of love are we talking about now? Mania love, maybe?
Well, I mean, there's many different kinds of love. I mean,
Mania. That's one that I'd like to stick on for a minute. Obsessive love. Mania love. Think about this for a second, if you will. O.J. Simpson loved his wife, or he wouldn't have married her.
well, many people marry others that don't love.
Hold on. Hold your Twinkies.
Wish I had a Twinkie.
gets divorced from said woman, and apparently was still in love with her and very jealous, obsessive, if you will. And so when the hint of her maybe having another relationship, he goes nuts.
Hey,
Loses his mind.
if the glove does not fit, you must quit.
They did say that. Catch you. But in a obsessive relationship, usually one of the people are very codependent. So
And the majority of the time, it's the man that's codependent.
yeah, that's what I've seen. Lacking trust in themselves, low self-esteem. So they're getting their esteem from said wife.
Not even wife, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever.
Well, let's use husband and wife.
I don't want to.
It's just easier to talk about. Girlfriend, boyfriend, I guess it works. But what if in the situation where you're just unmarried, that the girl realizes, hey, this is a codependent, obsessive situation and I want out of it. Let's talk about more serious. You got married to the person and you're in this situation. What now? And so in the case of OJ, I think, he really loved her. And because, they said afterwards, because of so many stab wounds, that actually showed love versus hate. I know, sounds crazy.
Yeah, it does sound crazy because you would think that if you love somebody, you wouldn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
But all the time you have these people that are insane. Oh, I love you, I don't want you to leave. They follow you, they stalk you, they try to ruin your life so you come groveling back to them. Because they want you to be dependent on them as well.
Mm.
Hence, codependent.
Mm-hmm. Not the only.
But most relationships, though, I don't think they start out in the playful love or the ludus stage. I think they go, well, now that I'm thinking about it, you start off being playful, and then once you start getting really serious is where you get the eros love, which is the erotic, the steamy times.
It's necessary.
The
in a
time,
relationship.
it's the time where you can't keep your hands off of each other.
It's the fun time.
It's the hardest time for Christians to try not to go through when they're first dating.
Let's talk about that for a second there, Chris.
What do you want
So-
to talk about there?
You talk about young couple, Christian couple,
Yes.
and let's say they're late teens, and they like each other's company. They would like to spend more time. Maybe they start to date, and they get in a situation to where it's alone time. I don't mean that in a weird way, but alone time. It still sounds weird.
Alone time. You always want to have time alone
Yeah.
with the person you're dating.
Sure. And I think everything that a guy knows up to that point says, I want to be alone with her. And then when he is, it could really get steamy, if you will, depending on the female. And so as a Christian, knowing sex outside of marriage is not right, then how do you control those urges? Cold water? You don't get alone? I mean, that's
as the least amount of time alone as possible.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, but, you need to go on a date to see if this is the person you want to be seeing.
But it doesn't mean you have to do stuff where you're alone.
Yep.
You can have a dinner where it's just you and the other person, but it's in a crowded place.
Mm-hmm. But you gotta get there. Can't fly there.
Okay.
You gotta, you're alone in the vehicle.
The whole point is using your self-control.
And your 17 self-control is what?
It's difficult, yes. I'm at no point saying it's easy.
No.
I mean, I went through it a whole lot closer to this day and age than you did.
This is true.
And
you bragging?
No. Oh, I would be screwed if I wasn't married. If I didn't already have my wife and my kids, I would have no chance in this dating world.
Never know.
Oh, I know.
You won't know.
I don't want to know.
You won't know. But, so yeah, a young Christian couple, or even, okay, let's take it a little step further. You have a Christian guy and a girl at his school that maybe he's interested in, and she's not a believer. And maybe she likes to go a little further than what he's comfortable with. So again, self-control. He could say no, 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 but 17-year-old guy, difficult. 17-year-old guy, believer, and young girl, 16. She is, let's say, she's a church member. She's not a believer. And he knows this. So he gets in a situation where steamy, if you will, and his, lack of better words, control goes out the window, probably. Shouldn't, but, So,
I mean, that's why you got to try to find the right person.
What you were saying earlier.
What I was saying earlier.
Maybe you don't get yourself in those situations. Has a lot to do with mom and dad. Not to get you in those situations. But a lot of times when you want to let your kids grow up, you when they get up, upper teens, and you want to give them a little leeway to, if they do mess up, be able to recover. Just like when they start riding a bike. You want to get them on the bike quick as you can. They fall, you want to get them back on it again. But here's the thing. When you're dealing with relationships, sometimes when you fall, you don't get to get back on the bike. You've changed life forever. And I think that comes to mom and dad. There's you got to give them a little rope, a little leeway, but you also need to keep it a little tight. I know when I lived at home, when I was a teenager, wasn't able to shut my door in my bedroom. Couldn't shut it. I know a lot of people grew up like that. I thought it was a little silly at the time, but looking back, like Garth Brooks said, looking back.
I mean, the only time I grew up in that same kind of house, the only time we could.
You grew up in my house? I didn't even know it.
I said the same kind.
That's where the Twinkie went.
I said the same kind of house.
Oh, my bad.
We couldn't close the door either.
And that's a good thing. It really is.
Unless we were like changing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, no, we were not allowed to close our door. And a lot of people are like, Well, you gotta let them have their own privacy, and
I agree to that too, though. I believe a child should have.
you believe that
privacy.
children are the future.
I do that. I do. There comes a time
Yeah, children are. I mean,
when you heed a certain call. The
We've
world
gotta
must
quit
come
with-
together as one.
we've got to quit with these songs.
No, songs are. I love, and whichever kind of love this is, I love music. I do. Love it. Love music.
That would be more of a.
Changes my whole demeanor. Hear a really good song right before I walk in the door of our work. And how many we got now? 103? 104?
I thought we were in 200 and something.
Man, dreaming.
But,
Be nice. I'm not counting the office workers.
okay.
About 103.
So out there, yeah, more like 104 or 5.
Okay. But yeah, before I come into our workplace, in the east entrance, that's where I come in, the east entrance.
I come in the north.
North. And man, if I hear a song that really gets me snapping, it just sets the whole world on fire.
What if you hear a
Bad song.
bad song,
Well, hope I don't do that.
or you hear a song you don't like?
Yeah, that happens, but more often than not, I hear something good. Because I love music. Love it. Love all kinds of music. Country, rock, hip-hop, classical, Christian, you name it. I listen to it. There's good music all over the place. Love it.
Well, I want to get on to the real reason of why we're talking about love. Because past couple of weeks, we've been talking about different things, and it always comes down to we've got to love everybody. Well, there's different kinds of love.
Yes?
There's many different kinds of love.
We have eight.
What?
We have 8 before us.
You have 8 that you found in your research, and I'm going more off of there's different kinds of love, as in how you treat somebody. You show people different kinds of love different ways.
But I mean, I don't mean to stop you short, but I'm thinking that's just because we're different people. You know, we react like if you got scared, if your kid hid behind the door, jumped out, "Wah!" and you reacted, versus if I come to your house and your kid jumped out behind the door, I'm gonna react a little different, just because we're not the same.
Correct. What I'm going off of is telling somebody I don't agree with them in their political views or their world views or whatever doesn't mean I don't love them.
True.
It just means I have different views.
Mm-hmm.
When I see somebody that's doing something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
part of the way of showing them the love to them is telling them how they're going about it wrong.
Is it though?
Yes.
Would you want someone to tell you whenever they thought you were doing something wrong?
Expand on that. No, it never feels good to be told you're wrong. But if you're truly wrong and not doing like in a Christian manner, I know I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner. I do things that are wrong, and all I can do is try to be the best person I can. And doesn't mean somebody can't call me out on what I'm doing wrong. Hopefully that's their way of showing me that they love me, is to say, hey, you're doing this wrong. I love you enough that I want you to change what you're doing so that we can be together in heaven one day.
This is true. If someone would tell you lovingly, hey, I know this does not concern you, but I'm using something very hypothetical because I can't think of a specific thing to call out right now. But hey, Chris, you quit drinking moonshine. That stuff's going to kill you. The revenue's going to find you or whatever. But, okay, Chris, you need to quit that. Or Joe, or ever who you want to
No,
hypothetically
you're talking
quit.
to me.
Chris, quit the moonshine. And, well, you're defensive. Well, I only take 2 drinks a day. It's not hurting me. But on the outside, maybe someone sees the effects of it. You're away from your family more. You're looking for the steel to make it. But in love, someone could tell you, hey, you need to stop that, man. But you're in your mind though. I'm good. I've got this deal handled. I'm not hurting anybody. This is me. But how, that style of calling you out on something is never a good time. Now maybe, weeks down the road, you get to thinking about it. It depends on the person you heard it from. Do you actually love that person? Does that person really even matter in your life? That's where it starts. And if they don't really matter, then what they say doesn't really matter. But now if your wife told you, quit this, that, and the other, you're going to take that real serious. You're like, yeah, you could still do it. That's an option. But the love you have for her, hopefully she's sharing that love to you. And in love,
she's telling me out of the love that she has for me, not
to make you yeah.
She's not telling me so that she can love me. She's telling it to me because she loves me, that
Right.
what I'm doing is not right.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
But where we're at in the world these days, everybody just feels like everybody's attacking them.
I don't think everybody, but I see
Well, I mean, the majority of it.
a lot of folks.
A lot of time when you tell somebody that they're doing something wrong, you look, I mean, I'm guilty of this for myself, is when somebody's out there telling me I'm doing something wrong, it's not out of love, it's out of hatred. They want me to fail. They want me to do something bad.
Interesting. So you asked the question about loving everyone. Do you love everyone?
I try to love everyone.
Mm-hmm.
As I said earlier, I'm not perfect.
No, we're not. We're trying for perfection, but we're not going to succeed.
We're never going to succeed to be there.
But to love everybody is to give them, what they deserve. So many people. Many people.
I want to hold you. I want to hold you on that. Giving people what they deserve is love.
Deserve? Yes. Because loving yourself.
So showing mercy, is that showing love?
Mercy and love. I think they're
Because-
related.
Well, when you're merciful, you're not giving somebody what they deserve. You're showing mercy.
When I say what they deserve, and that is the love you show yourself, that's what they deserve. When you look in the mirror and you say, okay, Chris, this is you talking to you, not me talking to you. Okay, Chris, today, today's going to be a good day. I'm going to overlook whatever happened yesterday. And I love the guy in the mirror. the person that pulls out in front of you at the store and makes you run into a telephone pole, that person deserves the love that you've shown yourself in the mirror that morning. Although it's going to be difficult, they just run you into a electric pole. So how do you love that person?
Well, I want to go at this from a religious way.
Sure.
Do we deserve God's love?
Deserve it? No.
But He's merciful and
Yes.
He gives it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a way of showing how that person over there hasn't deserved my love by any means. But I'm supposed to give it anyways, whether they've deserved it or not. It's like my wife deserves my love because of all the stuff that I've put her through,
But you just said
all the things I've given her, or the things she's given me.
that we're undeserving, is what you just said.
I said even someone that's undeserving
Who is that? If you love everyone, who's undeserving?
of my love, someone who has not worked for it, someone.
Oh, so your love is works. There's works in your love.
There's works in everybody's love. You don't just
Love someone just for the sake of loving them. It doesn't have to be a
short of your
committal
children.
type love. You know, it's not like a commitment love. I'm just talking about riding down the road, la 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 la, and you see someone walking, and maybe they're walking their dog, and you have an opinion of the person. You know, whether it's a woman, man, child, coworker, and you instantly have an opinion. And you're not thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to have a long-term relationship with that person. Not that kind of love. Just the humanistic love that people deserve. You're not going to run them over in your car or hit them in the head with a stick. You just, that's the kind of love I'm talking about. You know, the hold your hand up and wave or smile at them. You know.
I'm trying to come to
That's the love.
I think that's more of a respect thing than a love thing.
Because there's no relationship. It's just a instant. You may not ever see that person again. You may. They may be related to you. They might be at the next reunion that you have. And there they are. And the one instance you had together was a pleasant one. But to have love for that person in the fact of, you didn't run them over or curse them out or
As
yell
far
at
as
them.
they know.
That's my point. I was going to say earlier, so many people I know drive vehicles very upset, and somebody pulls out in front of me, it's on. There ain't much love going on. But I think that love, if you that's something you have to work at. Love is something that you work at. All these loves that we mentioned earlier, you have to work at every one of them. You're either good at it or you're not, or you're somewhere in between.
I mean, if you don't have, but that goes back to if you don't have to work for something, is it really worth it? If you don't have to work for your money, you win the lottery.
It's still money.
It's still money, but is it? But I mean, is it really
Yes.
that special?
Mm-hmm. Spins just the same. I don't think love's like that.
But I mean, that's the thing though, is it's not that money, you don't respect it. So I mean, majority of the people who win the lottery, I think I heard within
It's
5
money.
years
It's
they're
an
broke again.
inanimate object. You can't respect. It's like
Let
respecting a
me
table.
have my example, dadgummit. I'm gonna have to break off and do my own podcast.
99% of the
Listen.
people that won the lottery did what?
I said majority of the people that win the lottery after 5 years go broke.
Mm-hmm.
because that money means nothing to them because they didn't work for it. They just want it.
I just think they didn't know how to handle it in the first place, and now that they've got a bunch of it, they don't know how to handle it either. That's like saying this homeless person over here don't know how to work. They don't have a job. Well, they don't know how to work. I could tell you a story about a homeless guy.
I'm gonna pull an example that I know you've never heard of.
Love it.
There's an episode of the show Bluey where the kids want an ice cream, and the dad tells them no, until he finds like, okay.
Did you say no 3 times?
Yes, he said no. Until it was time for, you got me all jumbled. Until he finally was just like, okay, you can have ice cream, but you got to carry me from here to the car or here to there. And the kids do it, and one other person comes and helps them, but they finally get the dad to the car, and they had a friend that would jump in the vehicle with them, an adult jumped in the vehicle with them, drove them to the ice cream store. The dad paid for the ice cream, and he's like, all right, taste it now. And it's like the best tasting thing they've ever had because they had to work for it.
Yeah. You're looking at love like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if
you work harder, it'll be more special.
The more you put into something, the more special it is. Because if
you
you
can
don't,
also spin your wheels doing that. Like if you work really hard at a relationship, loving someone,
and then the other person runs out,
they're not working. They're doing their own thing.
But that's the thing though. You don't have to worry about them. All you have to do is what you're doing.
Yeah, but that don't help out.
Okay, I understand it. It makes it hurt worse in the end when they leave.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you can sit there and say, hey,
by yourself, and say, hey, well, I done a heck of a job here. You might second guess yourself. Just saying.
I'm not saying you won't second guess yourself.
I've heard such.
I'm not saying you won't second guess yourself, but I mean, there's water going on. But what I was saying is, at least you've given it what you had.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But that's the thing, though. Say you didn't work for it and they leave. It's 2 people who've given up. Whereas at least you've tried and you've done what you can.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Is it better to have loved and lost than to never have loved?
Yes.
As you hear in all these movies.
Yes.
It's better to not love at all? No, it's better to work.
Love and lost.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Than to have never loved at all.
I mean, the majority of the time when that's being used is like when somebody's passed on. But I mean, it can even go into a divorced person situation.
That's exactly what comes to my mind. Always has. Before I was divorced. That's what I was thinking. Relationship-wise, husband-wife. And married, 7, 10, 20, 90 years. And split up. Was it way better to have that while you had it and lost it than to never had it? I think so.
I mean, you've made all these memories.
Yeah. But that, I'm going to tell you, that also hurts.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all easy street.
Not to compare a marriage to an animal, but it's like, okay, you have a dog. You've had a dog for 20 years, and it passes away.
Yep.
Or you've never had a dog, and there's a dead dog on the side of the road. I mean, you don't really care about that dog
A little. Not as much as a 20-year-old.
because of all
Relationship.
those memories,
Mhm.
that relationship you've had with the love you've had
Mhm.
for that dog, and in a marriage, that person. And the next time, those memories can help you move on if or when you're ready for a new relationship, whether it's a marriage, another
Boy-girl relationship.
an eros love or a pragma love.
There goes that Spanish accent.
Yeah, I know.
Like
All these
that.
Greek words I'm trying to use Spanish accent for. It's not
I like
working for me.
Do you think love is situational? And is it always situational, or is it just sometimes situational?
Yes, it is situational.
Yes.
Should it be? No, but it is.
Okay. Here's what I was thinking. So on these television shows I used to watch, they would put a whole load of eight or 10 people in a house, and they would stay there, 8, 10, 12 weeks.
Big Brother.
I did used to watch that, yeah.
I never could get into that crap.
And so in that situation, you're going to have guy and girl liking one another. And on those shows, within 3 programs, somebody's sleeping in the bed with the other one. I mean,
They're hooking up.
my goodness, is that what you went there for in the first place? Or is there a literal attraction when you're enclosed in a house with a certain amount of people? There's some people there you're never going to like. It's not their fault. You're just not going to like them. But there's others. It's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean,
How,
if that's what someone's looking for, yeah, that's what's.
But even if you're not looking for it, do you think situationally, let's just say, hypothetical here, that 99% of the world is gone, of all human population gone, and
So you're talking about like last man on earth type stuff.
last minute, yeah, and you've got 3 women around one guy, and so he's thinking, well, hey, you're my first cousin, you're my sister, and you're my mom.
Why did you pick those 3 people?
First cousin it is. No, I'm saying situationally. Years ago you would hear about people, guys would go out with their cousins. Well, it's because transportation is not. I mean, today you might travel 60 to 80 miles to a job site every day, versus many, many years ago you stayed in your community. You didn't get off the farm, if you will. And Joe next door may have a daughter around your age, and situationally speaking, the more you're around her, feelings, love, and situationally, there's nobody else. And you're thinking, I'm going to be old one day. I would like to own Joe's farm over there. So,
Mark, do you have a crush on your first cousin?
no. N-O. What if you found out your wife is your first cousin? What do you do?
Well, then in Tennessee, then it would be
No.
illegal.
I'm talking about you. Specifically.
Well, it would then be illegal. So then,
Illegal? You can't, you're not supposed to marry your first cousin?
not in Tennessee.
I don't know any of these laws. They don't affect me.
What if they did?
Then I would think about it.
No, but in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, it's illegal to marry and or have relations with your first cousin
I get it.
because, I mean,
But don't you think years ago that just happened? I mean, everybody's in a small area.
Yes, and that's why mental illness is running rampant.
You think? Because you can't do that anymore and you want to? What? What are you talking about?
No, I mean, they've proven that up until the, I think it's your first cousin. After, like, if it's a second cousin, it's not as bad, but from, I guess it would be a brother, sister to a brother, sister, mother, father, first cousin. Basically, depending on your relationship with somebody, can cause certain
Defects.
defects, mental defects to happen to children.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a bunch of people making babies with their first cousins or brothers, sisters,
Could be a problem.
I mean, why do you think royal families were so messed up?
Yeah.
I mean, they literally just reproduce with each other.
Mm-hmm. Could cause a problem.
And I mean, when we have that problem these days where your uncle is the one running the farm next door, and you never leave the farm except for to go to your uncle's farm.
Yep.
And so the only girl you see is your cousin over there.
Cousin Susie.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
you reproduce with her.
Do you think love is today what it was 300 years ago? Before you answer, I have to say this. If you've listened this long, you're a good listener. You're a friend of ours. And we just want to say that if you text the word love to 615-330-3644, we will say your name, if you want, on the next podcast. Or if you have an idea for a podcast, let us know that. But either way, text that number, let us know.
What exclusions apply?
Me and you are not included.
You didn't say that last time.
Common sense.
Who says I have any of that?
I do. You have common sense.
All right. So back to the question you asked me.
Do you think love is the same today as it was 300 years ago?
Do I think?
Got tongue-tied on that one, did you?
No, it's more of I want to understand what you mean by your question.
Well, what we know about love, and from as simple as witnessing someone on the road with a wave and saying, you know, internally, I love everybody. That person there I love. Hey, how you doing? To the agape love, if you will, to where it's a selfless love and love beyond even understanding and everything in between that you know about today, 2023, what you know about love. Do you think situationally 300 years ago, Chris, 300 years ago, whatever that person is named, probably Christopher, which is your name. So did he seek and have love like you do today?
No.
Expound.
Because back in the day, we were told to love everybody, but there was a lot of hatred going on. I mean, talking about hating the commies and the people from different countries. Oh, we loved Americans, but if you're not American, oh.
So you're thinking that love today is what, easily acquired versus 300 years ago? I mean, that's what I'm hearing you saying. I think that because we have so many influences today, that it's hard for us to understand love. I think many hundreds of years ago, maybe, just guessing, that maybe love was easier to understand. Maybe it was a more common thing to consider while you're sitting looking at the stars at night. Maybe you wonder about love. And today seems like people are so busy that looking at the stars are out of the question, much less considering what your next relationship looks like with someone.
The whole thing about love, except for self-love, love contains two people, at least two people. And today, I'd say in today's age, everything's geared to, how do I put this? Our ways of we have the ability to interact with more people these days, but we are taught more to care about ourselves and not look at other people unless they agree with you on certain things.
Do you agree that you need to love yourself first and then others? A lot of people would say if you aren't able to love yourself, you aren't able to love others.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that, because if you don't know how to take care of yourself, how are you supposed to take care of another? I mean, that's kind of the same way with love. If you don't have love for who you are or where you're from, the upbringing you have, if you don't have love for that, it might not have been the best raising. You might have grew up poor, you might have been beaten, you might have been whatever. But that made you the person you are.
Mm-hmm.
All the hardships,
yep,
some harder than other,
mm-hmm,
it made you who you are.
Yeah, I think I've said this to you, I've often wondered, professional athletes, first generation millionaires, and certain ones came up very, very difficult, tough times. But those tough times made them strive and kick and scream and get where they were going. And they made it, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But then their kids have easy street. Now, they love their kids, you know. But, man, they get easy street. And those kids do not have to kick and whatever mom and dad had to do to get them to where they are. And so that strive doesn't, I mean, it could be there. But for the most part, you know, I hear stories of professional athletes. The mom worked a couple of jobs. They stayed home to help with the children. The other kids maybe had to quit school early. And all the while, they were preparing themselves for what was coming. And every second of their day was about, I'm not always going to be like this. I'm not always going to live like this. But then when they've made it and they're bringing in more money than they can even count, now their children are on what we would call easy street. And so what does the next generation look like there? Sure, the parents loved them in each situation. Money, what's the old saying? Can't
take money with you.
Something like that.
Money corrupts.
We're talking about love and money.
You know what I mean? A lot of people love their money.
Yeah.
Sometimes they love their money more than their family.
Yeah. The ability to acquire more. Because I love my family so much, I want to get them a lot of stuff that'll make them happier. It's just not true. Anybody will tell you that, but man, we sure strive to do that. Give my kids more stuff so they'll be happier.
Well, that comes down to
money does not make happiness.
That comes down to they want their children to live a better life than what they had.
Yep.
But the thing about it is, though, in allowing them to live that better life that they never had, what does that mean for their grandkids?
Yep. So, the other love that we were going to talk about was family love, the love of a child, from a parent to a child.
What's the Greek word for that?
Storge. Storge love.
Gay.
3, 2, 1. Storge love. The love of a child from a parent. I personally do not think there's a stronger love on this earth. On this earth is the love of a parent to a child. You just can't you can't divorce it. Not that you'd want to, but you can't. It's always there, sleeping, awake, driving, sitting, working, you name it. That love is always there. Disturbing at times, scary, especially in the early going, right?
But is it always there, though?
It's always there.
But okay. Then what about these people that want to abort their children?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have love for that child?
I think so. That's why I'm so glad I'm not in their shoes. I can't imagine making a decision of a child inside of me that I am connected to. Now, they could have acquired the child in a terrible circumstance, and all it causes them is heartache. But somewhere up the road, whether it's in the pregnancy, after the abortion, or years down the road, there's a connection there, whether they would admit to it or not. There's a love there that will not go away. For a woman.
You and I disagree on
That's
that.
okay. That's fine.
There's no way.
Do you know anyone that's had an abortion?
Yes.
Okay. Meaning?
No, I know of one person who's had an abortion, and they said it was the worst mistake, and they didn't think about it as being a huge mistake until they
usually don't.
Because when they first did it, they were like, "Oh, it's just a clump of cells."
Mm-hmm.
They had no love for it.
Mm-hmm.
That love was not there. Mm-hmm. When you end a child's life like that, that's not love. I can see if you give your child up for adoption, that love still being there. I can see that. But ending that child's life in the womb, or it doesn't even have to be an abortion, killing a child years later, that's not love.
But you had love. Love was in existence somewhere there. I'm guessing. All I can speak on is what I know. And I can tell you that from day one, when my first child was brought on this earth, there's a connection there that there ain't nothing else I'm connected to on this earth, like I am my children. And the love I had for the have for them is there's nothing to equal it. Now I can speak on my love for Jesus, and I can tell you, because Jesus is not here on this earth, is why I prefaced my children's love for here on this earth. But my love for Jesus, your belief in a Christ that you'll never see on this earth, all you can do is believe. That love, that takes even a more special love than what you would have for your children. Because trusting, believing in Him takes a real effort. And a lot of people's not willing, and that, that's their option. You can have that. You don't have to believe. You can go on your 75 years plus or minus here on this earth, believing, not believing. I personally have never looked in the rearview mirror once I became a believer. I have a million questions, but I do not question the fact that Jesus is my Savior. The fact that I love Jesus as I do. A million questions I'd love to ask Him one day.
And you'll get to one day.
And, that's exciting. Scary? Yes. Exciting? Yes. Kind of like the day my first child was born. Exciting? Yes. Scary? Yes. Loved every minute of it, though.
Second child, same way.
Second child, same as the first.
Happy? Yes. Scared to death?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not as scared, though. Not as scared. For myself, not as scared. Kind of knew what to expect, but
was your second one planned?
Yes. Yeah, they both were. They both were planned.
Yeah, when you have a second one that's not planned at all, it's scarier.
Well, we work with a coworker. I don't know if you know. He works in the east wing, southeast wing. He had a child, let me back. You would be surprised. His wife had a child after vasectomy. He had a vasectomy. That's really surprising.
And that's why you go to your 6-month and year checkup.
You get that check. So, I guarantee you, though, Chris, this coworker of ours loves that child as just as much as the others, and that brings me
to the next question. Do you love your children the same?
As each other or my wife?
Each other.
I don't have a favorite.
No, but it's different. You love your little girl.
I love my girl differently than I love my boy because they're different people.
They're different people. That's right. And it's probably splitting hairs for most people to say, well, I don't love one more than the other. No, it's not more or less.
And that's what I thought you were asking.
No. It's a trick question. Different, though.
You like to ask trick questions.
I do. I ask myself trick questions all the time.
Yeah, I asked you a riddle, and you decided to go all nuclear on it.
I didn't find the answer. It was a math question. I had to figure out the answer.
All the money was accounted for. There was 2
cents missing. But anyway, I love that riddle. But again, loving your children. Like I said, on this earth, I don't know of another love that deep. But if you had a house full of children, I'm guessing that each one of them would be special in their own way, but you would love them differently. The same, but different. You see?
I mean, I understand what you mean, and other people who have children will know what you mean. It's those people that don't have kids yet.
Now imagine 12, 13, 14 children. That's different. That's tough.
There's no way there can be a 14-way tie.
It's the same love.
Number 7, you're a redhead. You're out of here.
There you go. That would be different. I mean, I don't know of anybody that has that size of a family. I know 6 children, but imagine that plus another 6 plus 1.
I don't want to.
That's a lot of kids. You're starting new generations.
You can find a young woman, and you and her can start having 20 kids.
Me?
Yes,
God,
you.
No. I don't have that in
me. 20 more kids, I'm sorry.
I don't have that. No. Plain simple.
You don't have that many times left in you?
No. Not at all. But the other love that we were talking about, Storge love of your family, love your children, what we're talking about. So grandmother, grandfather, you still have grandmother alive?
I have a single grandmother.
Single. And so were you alive to lose the other 3?
Yes.
When they passed? So you were alive when they passed.
Mm-hmm.
And so your connection to them, in my opinion, they loved you more than you loved them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just has to work out that way. You loved them, no doubt, but you lost your earliest one at what age?
I think
You can round up to the nearest 5.
Well, the first one to go was my dad's father. I'm wanting to say I was like
So like
15 or 16.
Like 09? Either 9 or 10. It was one.
I think it was 8.
Mm-mm.
Why you say mm-mm?
Because I was there. I didn't know your dad in 08.
Had to have been 08.
No. Sorry, but no.
Because it was either a year or some on that my grandmother went. So it had to have been 08. It was 08. No.
Dad's dad? Is that who we're talking about?
And my dad said it was a summer of '08. Yep, it was. I know it was.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But no.
You can be sorry.
I did not know
Okay.
your dad.
No,
You know
it was not. '08 was not my dad's dad. That's
I know.
okay. Shut up. The
I'm
summer.
telling
The
you
sum.
this.
I thought he was the one to go first, but I was wrong. It was the summer of '08. Was my mom's mom. She had just had. She had a stroke. They brought her home with hospice.
So in '08, you were how old?
'08, I was 16.
Okay. So
Wait.
you knew
Yeah.
your grandmother 13 years or so that you can remember.
Yes.
And you grew to love her a certain way. Did she live close? Did you have a close relationship? She did. Very close,
They-
apparently.
So the house that I'm currently staying in
Hmm.
is their old house.
Oh, very close. And in the palatial estate, in the southeast wing? Ish.
No, their house is not that big.
Come on, man.
No.
And
No,
so they were close enough for you to have, you could probably see them every day. So a lot of people don't have that.
I did. My mom's parents, I did see every day
See every day.
because
And that's special. That's very special.
I was very blessed to have
Not everybody has that.
my both sets of grandparents right there.
And so the relationship you had with the three grandparents that you lost, and again, we agree that probably the grandparents loved you in a
Different. They love me more in a different way.
Yes. And so when you lost them, or whenever they passed, you didn't actually lose them. You had a void, but there was something in you that said, "I'm supposed. My grandparents are supposed to leave this earth before me." That's how that's supposed to work. Does it hurt? Yes, it hurts, but it's an order that we expect.
And I can tell you from experience, to have a child go before you is a whole nother kind of hurt.
Hold that.
Okay.
thought. So, as you get older, because you're not going to get younger,
I try.
there's certain things that you expect. And I guess early in life, if you have your great grandparents, you expect them to pass before grandparents, and then parents, and then you're up to bat. And the love that you were receiving, hopefully, at that stage of the game, you're giving. And it starts right there with your children. That kind of love is, like I say, it goes on from loving that child to loving their children, and hope you stay around long enough to love their children. And if we can just love one another, that sounds like a simple statement, but it's not simple. It's easy to love the one that loves you.
And it's hard to love the ones that want to kill you.
It's almost impossible. But
Almost.
necessary.
Yes. All right, Mark. I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. Sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
We'll try to do this again another time.
Yep.
Peace.